But it was not possible because he was a gay man, and therefore he walked away from it. And I was absolutely, it was like the end of my life when that happened. So it was a terrible, terrible shock.
Angela Lansbury once left the public quietly shaken when she revealed one of the most intimate truths of her life, that she had married a gay man, and later made the heartbreaking choice to walk away from Hollywood fame to shield her children from dangerous influences linked to the Manson family. Beneath her graceful public image was a woman forced to make impossible decisions far from the spotlight. Born Angela Bridget Lansbury on October 16, 1925, in London, she was raised in a household shaped by intellect, performance, and political thought. Her mother, Moyna McGill, was a distinguished stage and screen actress, while her father, Edgar Lansbury, was a prominent politician and businessman. From an early age, Angela absorbed a worldview grounded in culture, discipline, and moral conviction. That foundation was shaken when her father died suddenly while Angela was only 9 years old. The loss left a quiet void that she filled with cinema and theater, retreating into stories as a form of emotional survival. As war closed in on Europe and the Blitz turned London into a place of fear and uncertainty, the Lansbury family made a life-altering decision to flee. In 1940, they escaped to the United States, leaving behind everything familiar. After a brief period in New York, Angela pursued formal acting training at the Fegan School of Drama, before the family relocated to Los Angeles, a move that would place her unknowingly at the edge of destiny. At just 17, Angela Lansbury stunned the film industry when she was cast as the sharp-tongued maid Nancy in Gaslight, 1944. The performance was electric, earning her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress and instantly setting her apart from her peers. Hollywood took notice. Throughout the 1940s and 1950s, she transitioned seamlessly between complex roles, displaying emotional depth and versatility far beyond her years. While audiences saw a rising star, few could have imagined the personal sacrifices unfolding behind the scenes, sacrifices that would later redefine what truly mattered to her and forever change the course of her life. Although Angela Lansbury was often cast in roles far older than her actual age, she delivered performances that felt astonishingly authentic. Audiences first took notice with her haunting, shadowed turn in the picture of Dorian Gray, 1945, which earned her a second Academy Award nomination. Years later, her icy portrayal of a calculating, emotionally manipulative mother in The Manchurian Candidate, 1962, brought her a third. Even in supporting roles, Lansbury displayed a rare ability to completely disappear into her characters, giving them psychological depth, complexity, and lasting emotional impact. And yet Angela Lansbury's brilliance was never confined to the silver screen. On Broadway, she rose to legendary status through a remarkable string of Tony Award-winning performances in iconic productions such as Mame, 1966, Gypsy, 1974, Sweeney Todd, 1979, and Blithe Spirit, 2009. With a commanding voice, magnetic stage presence, and extraordinary versatility, she became one of the most revered and beloved figures in musical theater history. Every time Lansbury stepped onto the stage, she demonstrated an unwavering devotion to her craft, from razor-sharp comedic timing to a powerful ability to convey deep emotion through both spoken word and song. For millions of television viewers, however, her most enduring role emerged on the small screen as Jessica Fletcher, the sharp-minded mystery novelist who calmly unraveled crimes week after week in Murder, She Wrote, 1984 to 1996. Spanning an impressive 12 seasons and 264 episodes, the series transformed Lansbury into a global television icon. Viewers were drawn to her intelligence, warmth, and effortless charm, turning the show into a beloved weekly ritual. Her portrayal of Fletcher, clever, fiercely independent, and deeply compassionate, offered a rare and empowering heroine who challenged conventions of age and gender. Although an Emmy win never came, her record-breaking 12 consecutive nominations stood as undeniable proof of her lasting appeal. Beyond film, theater, and television, Angela Lansbury also left an unforgettable mark on animation. Her tender, heartfelt performance as Mrs. Potts in Disney's Beauty and the Beast, 1991, especially through the timeless title song, infused the film with warmth, grace, and emotional depth. That instantly recognizable voice gave the animated classic its soul, ensuring that Angela Lansbury's legacy would continue to resonate with audiences of every generation. Even as the years passed, Angela Lansbury never lost her ability to captivate audiences across generations. She delighted families with memorable roles in films like Anastasia, 1997, and Nanny McPhee, 2005, effortlessly proving that her talent was both ageless and endlessly adaptable. As her legacy grew, the honors followed: 6 Tony Awards, 5 Golden Globe victories, the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award, and, at last, an Honorary Academy Award in 2013, acknowledging a career that had shaped the very fabric of entertainment. The recognition reached a historic peak in 2014 when Queen Elizabeth II bestowed upon her the title of Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire. The honor celebrated not only her artistic excellence, but also her humanitarian spirit, marking Lansbury as a rare cultural figure cherished on both sides of the Atlantic. Yet long before the awards, the knighthood, and the global admiration, Angela Lansbury lived through a quiet, intensely personal chapter that few truly understood. On September 27, 1945, at just 19 years old, she slipped away from Hollywood's glare to elope with actor Richard Cromwell, a man 16 years her senior. Their union was sealed in a simple civil ceremony, free of cameras and fanfare. Angela entered the marriage with genuine love and unwavering hope, convinced that despite the age gap and the relentless pressures of fame, their connection would last. Instead, the relationship collapsed almost as quickly as it began, ending in divorce by 1946. What happened next defied expectations. Rather than dissolving into resentment, their relationship evolved into something gentler and more enduring. Angela and Richard remained friends, bound by mutual respect and quiet understanding. That bond persisted for years, lasting until Cromwell's death from liver cancer in 1960, a testament to Lansbury's emotional maturity and uncommon grace. Still, the truth behind their separation remained shrouded in silence for decades. When Angela finally spoke, the story revealed a heartbreak far deeper than the public ever imagined. Cromwell did not confront her, did not explain himself, and did not say goodbye. One day, he was simply gone. All that remained was a short, devastating note left behind in their empty home. "Sorry, I can't go on." No conversation. No closure. Only unanswered questions. The abrupt disappearance sparked years of speculation, made even more unsettling by a single cryptic remark Cromwell later offered to the press, a comment that hinted at secrets neither of them was ever truly able to escape. Cromwell later offered a baffling explanation, telling reporters, "All over the house, teacups. In the middle of the night she'd get up and start drinking tea. It nearly drove me crazy." To most listeners, the comment felt strangely shallow, almost intentionally misleading. Few believed such a harmless habit could justify a sudden disappearance and a shattered marriage. Angela certainly didn't. As time passed, she sensed the truth was far more complex, something unspoken and deeply buried beneath that flimsy excuse. Years later, clarity finally emerged. Lansbury came to understand that Richard Cromwell was gay, and that his internal struggle, not anything she had done, was the real reason the marriage collapsed. It was a realization that arrived slowly, through reflection rather than confrontation. In later interviews, she spoke about how the pieces eventually aligned, revealing a painful but honest picture of what had truly happened behind closed doors. Cromwell had been trapped in an unforgiving era, when being openly gay in Hollywood could mean professional exile and public disgrace. For many actors, heterosexual marriages became a form of camouflage, a desperate attempt at survival, often leaving emotional wreckage in their wake. Angela addressed this reality with remarkable empathy during a candid interview with Terry Gross on NPR's Fresh Air, quietly exposing a hidden chapter of Hollywood history and the private suffering it demanded. Looking back, Lansbury spoke with striking vulnerability about how unprepared she had been at just 19 years old. Though she had known many gay individuals in the industry, the reality had never fully registered, especially when it involved the man she loved. Young, inexperienced, and deeply devoted to Cromwell, she admitted she had entered the marriage without any sexual experience at all. That lack of understanding made the unraveling of their relationship all the more confusing and painful. As she later reflected that her sheltered upbringing left her unaware of the deeper layers of identity, sexuality, and emotional compatibility. Yet despite the heartbreak, Lansbury was adamant about one thing: she never blamed Cromwell. What began in misunderstanding did not end in resentment. With time, she came to see the marriage as a profound emotional mistake, painful, yes, but also illuminating. Once she accepted the truth, anger gave way to compassion, and bitterness never took root. Angela also credited her mother, Moyna McGill, with instilling those values early on. A well-connected actress herself, Moyna frequently hosted elegant Hollywood gatherings that quietly included many gay men and women living cautiously in an intolerant era. Angela remembered how fiercely her mother guarded their privacy, never exposing anyone's truth without permission. That atmosphere of discretion and respect shaped her worldview. In later years, Lansbury reflected that her mother's close ties to Hollywood's hidden gay community taught her a lifelong lesson: to honor people's identities, protect their boundaries, and respect the truths that were never meant to be spoken aloud. Over time, Angela Lansbury came to be celebrated as an unexpected yet deeply respected gay icon, not because she chased labels, but because her support was real, visible, and unwavering during an era when open allyship in Hollywood was rare and risky. She often spoke with quiet amazement about how many performers from her generation were forced to live double lives, hiding their true identities to protect their careers. Her empathy was born not from theory, but from lived experience and understanding. At the core of Lansbury's resilience was a simple belief that carried her through life's most difficult chapters. "We have to put our faith and trust in that," she once said. "I believe that God is within all of us, that we are perfect, precious beings." This philosophy, grounded in compassion, spirituality, and inner strength, shaped how she handled both triumph and heartbreak. And as a mother, that inner resolve would soon be tested more severely than any role she had ever played. In the turbulent atmosphere of the 1960s, while the family was living in Los Angeles, both of Angela's teenage children fell into substance abuse. Years later, she spoke openly about the most terrifying discovery of all. Her daughter, Deirdre, had become dangerously close to the cult led by Charles Manson. Angela revealed that Deirdre was moving within Manson's inner circle, drawn in by the same manipulative charm that trapped so many vulnerable young people during that era. Faced with the unthinkable, Angela made a swift and courageous decision. Together with her husband, Peter Shaw, she walked away from Hollywood entirely, relocating the family to the quiet countryside of County Cork, Ireland. She turned down acting work for more than a year, choosing her children's lives over her career at a critical crossroads. The move proved life-saving. Looking back, Lansbury later admitted she was certain that had they stayed in Los Angeles, she might have lost one, or even both, of her children. In rural Ireland, away from fame, pressure, and temptation, her family found stability, healing, and a chance to start over. Her children eventually recovered and went on to lead healthy, grounded lives. Angela Lansbury's life was never a simple fairy tale. It was layered with early heartbreak, deep compassion, family crises, and hard-earned victories. Yet through every chapter, she remained honest about her past and generous toward those who had caused her pain. Her story stands as a quiet reminder that forgiveness is possible, love can be rediscovered, and the most meaningful roles are often played far from the spotlight, in sacrifice, perseverance, and courage. Long before these personal trials, Angela faced a struggle shared by many in her generation. Like countless actors who rose to prominence in mid-20th century Hollywood, she became a habitual chain smoker at a young age, when cigarettes were inseparable from glamour, stress relief, and stage culture. Smoking was not only accepted, it was encouraged. For Angela, it likely offered a sense of calm amid the relentless demands and pressures of an extraordinary career. By the mid-1960s, Angela Lansbury made a quiet but transformative choice that would shape the rest of her life. As medical awareness around smoking increased, she decided to quit, protecting her health, preserving her voice, and ensuring the longevity of a career that was far from over. That clarity of judgment also sheds light on her early romantic choices. Like many young actresses of Hollywood's golden age, Angela entered marriage with hope, unaware that the culture of secrecy surrounding sexuality would fracture so many unions. She was not alone in loving someone who could not live openly. For countless women of that era, Romance began with promise and ended in bewilderment and heartbreak. What distinguished Angela was not the pain she experienced, but how she responded to it. Rather than allowing disappointment to curdle into bitterness, she met it with empathy and understanding. The collapse of her first marriage did not harden her heart or define her future. Instead, it quietly prepared her for the enduring love that would follow, a love she found with actor and producer Peter Shaw. Married in 1949, Angela and Peter formed a partnership rooted in respect, loyalty, and shared purpose. Their marriage became the emotional foundation of her life, lasting an extraordinary 54 years until Peter's death in 2003. She often described their relationship as both deeply romantic and genuinely collaborative. Together, they built a home anchored in stability and warmth. Angela became a devoted stepmother to Peter's son, David Shaw, and later welcomed 2 children of her own, Anthony Peter Shaw and Deirdre Angela Shaw. Though she openly acknowledged the strain of balancing motherhood with a demanding career, particularly when work pulled her away from home, her commitment to her family never wavered. And while she did not raise her children within a strict religious framework, Angela instilled in them a profound moral foundation and spiritual awareness. Through example rather than instruction, she taught compassion, accountability, and integrity, values that mirrored the quiet strength she carried throughout her life. Her decision to quit smoking reflected the same discipline that guided her personal and professional choices. For an actress whose career depended on stamina and voice, safeguarding her health was an act of foresight, not vanity. At the same time, she remained realistic about the challenges aging posed in an industry relentlessly focused on appearance. At 51, in 1976, Lansbury chose to undergo a modest cosmetic procedure on her neck to address natural signs of aging. The decision was practical, not obsessive, a strategic step in a business where opportunity often hinges on perception. The results were subtle yet effective, allowing her to maintain a polished presence during a crucial phase of her career. Over a decade later, in 1987, she made the same choice again, approaching it with the same measured clarity. These decisions reflected a balanced mindset, neither consumed by image nor dismissive of its impact. She aimed to age with dignity while remaining viable in a visually driven industry. By the 1990s, as she entered her 70s, the physical toll of a lifetime of performance, particularly the demands of the stage, began to surface. Lansbury developed arthritis, a painful condition that gradually limited her mobility. Though she rarely spoke about it publicly, she continued working, quietly adjusting her performances to meet her physical limits. Her determination was perhaps most evident in her enduring stage presence, where her authority and artistry never faltered. In May 1994, she took a decisive step toward reclaiming her independence by undergoing hip replacement surgery. The procedure restored her mobility and improved her quality of life. Her recovery was swift and resolute, and before long, Angela Lansbury returned to both stage and screen, once again affirming her lifelong devotion to her craft. Angela Lansbury passed away peacefully on October 11, 2022, in Los Angeles, just days shy of her 97th birthday. With her passing came the closing of an extraordinary chapter in entertainment history, a career that stretched across nearly 8 decades and touched multiple generations. Her longevity was never accidental. It was built on discipline, foresight, and a quiet inner strength that carried her through success, hardship, and inevitable decline with dignity intact. Even in her final years, Lansbury never lost her reverence for storytelling or her devotion to the performing arts. Age and illness may have slowed her body, but they never dimmed her spirit. Those who knew her, worked beside her, or admired her from afar recognized a woman who carried grace not as a performance, but as a way of life. News of her death sent ripples across the world. Fans, fellow artists, and generations of viewers mourned not just a legendary actress, but a cultural constant, someone who had shaped stage, screen, and television for decades. Her legacy extended far beyond accolades. It was defined by courage, compassion, and deeply personal choices, including a youthful marriage marked by misunderstanding and her later decision to walk away from Hollywood at the height of her fame to protect her children from the dark pull of the Manson era. That compassion did not appear by accident. It was nurtured early by her mother, Moyna McGill, who was closely connected to Hollywood's hidden gay community and fiercely protective of people's privacy in an era defined by stigma and secrecy. Growing up in that environment helped Angela develop empathy rather than judgment. Over time, she herself became a gay icon, not because she sought the title, but because she offered understanding and acceptance when such openness was rare. And although her first love ended in pain, it did not determine her future. True and lasting happiness arrived when she married actor-producer Peter Shaw in 1949. Their marriage endured an extraordinary 54 years, until his death in 2003, and became the emotional foundation of her life. Together, they raised 3 children, and Angela often spoke of the stability, partnership, and quiet strength Peter brought to her world, even as she struggled to balance family life with a demanding career. A life tested her once again in the turbulent 1960s, when both of her teenage children fell into substance abuse. The most frightening moment came when her daughter Deirdre became involved with the Charles Manson cult. Terrified for their safety, Angela made a bold and decisive move. She walked away from Hollywood entirely and relocated her family to the countryside of County Cork, Ireland. She turned down work for more than a year to focus solely on her children, a decision she later said saved their lives. Her children recovered, and Angela returned to her career with renewed strength. Known for discipline and self-awareness, she quit chain smoking in the mid-1960s, made practical cosmetic and medical choices to protect her health, and continued performing despite arthritis, hip replacement surgery in 1994, and knee surgery in 2005. True and lasting happiness arrived when she married actor-producer Peter Shaw in 1949. Their marriage endured an extraordinary 54 years, until his death in 2003, and became the emotional foundation of her life. Together, they raised 3 children, and Angela often spoke of the stability, partnership, and quiet strength Peter brought to her world, even as she struggled to balance family life with a demanding career. Her children recovered, and Angela returned to her career with renewed strength. Known for discipline and self-awareness, she quit chain smoking in the mid-1960s, made practical cosmetic and medical choices to protect her health, and continued performing despite arthritis, hip replacement surgery in 1994, and knee surgery in 2005. Each obstacle was met not with retreat, but with quiet determination. Angela Lansbury passed away peacefully on October 11, 2022, at the age of 96. Her nearly 8-decade career and deeply human life left a legacy far greater than fame alone. More than an actress, she became a symbol of grace, courage, and perseverance, reminding us that the most powerful performances are often found not on stage or screen, but in the unseen choices made to protect family, honor truth, and keep moving forward.